Thanks for joining us. Well, starting with some breaking news tonight, a high-angle rescue is underway on the Fort William First Nation. Police say a man was hang gliding around 5:30 this evening when he got stuck 200 feet up the face of the mountain. The Ontario Provincial Police and Thunder Bay Fire Rescue are on scene at this time. No word yet on if or what injuries the man may have. He's in contact with his brother on the ground via cell phone. We'll have more details as this story unfolds. Well, Scottish authorities say 8 people are dead after a police helicopter crashed through the roof of a crowded Glasgow pub last night. 3 of the dead were aboard the helicopter and 5 were in the pub. Another 14 are in hospital with serious injuries. Margaret Evans has more.
The helicopter fell from the sky like a stone, say eyewitnesses, crashing onto the roof of a crowded pub next to Glasgow's River Clyde.
And suddenly I heard this bang, very loud bang, and I was not sure what had happened. At first I thought the speakers had possibly blown, but then I looked around and this cloud of dust suddenly took over the whole pub.
Police are still treating their efforts as both rescue and recovery, describing the scene as complicated and dangerous.
I have to ask you to imagine the situation where the helicopter has come down and is almost literally sitting in the middle of the building. And until that is resolved, we can't know everything that is in that building.
Some anxious relatives are still waiting for news of loved ones.
He's not been home to his house. His phone's dead. Nobody's heard anything from him. Simple as. I know for a fact what happened, and I just wanted to know where he is so I can go and ID him.
3 of the confirmed dead have been identified as the civilian pilot and 2 police officers on board. Experts say it will take time to determine the cause of the crash. These were some of the first pictures of the confused aftermath. Jim Murphy is a Scottish MP who just happened to be driving by.
Most of the men are kind of almost like a human chain, and there's people much deeper in the kind of debris of the pub and trying to pass injured people out.
There were words of sympathy for the bereaved, but also praise for those who rushed to help.
This is a black day for Glasgow and for Scotland, but it's also St Andrew's Day, and it's a day we can take pride and courage in how we respond to adversity and tragedy.
Today there were bowed heads and moments of silence on Scotland's soccer pitches, and there were special prayers for the dead in the churches. Margaret Evans, CBC News, London.
Thunder Bay's city manager says the possible reassessment of the Resolute pulp and paper mill could have an impact on the 2014 budget. City Council met behind closed doors this past week to confirm its position at an upcoming hearing. Resolute Forest Products has applied for a 60% reduction in the assessed value of its Thunder Bay mill. The city has hired outside legal counsel to help defend their multi-million-dollar appeal. Resolute officials are hoping to see the assessed value of the mill drop from $74 million to roughly $34 million. Similar decisions by the Municipal Property Assessment Corporation have had huge consequences for places like Dryden and Espanola. A worst-case scenario could also see Thunder Bay paying millions of dollars back to Resolute for taxes paid in previous years.
Cancer, I think that's what it was.
So that's all these houses in this row, basically.
All these houses, yes.
Including the Campbells, too. Pat is in remission. Neil has kidney and skin cancer.
Sometimes you feel like you're just waiting in line.
Larry Skomorowski lives down the street. He believes the cancer rate is unusually high because the neighborhood was built on top of waste from the nickel mine and mill, where powerful chemicals strip.
Sorry about that technical difficulty there. More than 100 people received training today that could make them someone's future hero. The Heart and Stroke Foundation, together with many local partners, offered a free CPR training event. More than 500 people have been trained in the city in the past 2 years. As Dennis Ward reports, some had very personal reasons to learn how to potentially save a life.
Ryan Bliznikis recently had a life-changing moment. During a game of pickup floor hockey, one of the players came off his shift, sat down and said he was done for the night. He told the crowd gathered for free CPR training that the player then passed out and fell over. He says the 14 people there didn't know what to do.
Unfortunately, that night the gentleman did pass away. It's affected the group of people all a little differently to each one. But at that point, there was a few of us saying if we did know what to do, and had the confidence that this course is, trying to instill, to actually get in there. Those, as I said, those first 4 minutes are key. Could that have changed something? We don't know, but it would have helped, right?
Bliznikis says the course was quick and easy, and he now feels he has the confidence and the training to step in and help, whether it's a family member or someone walking down the street that has cardiac arrest. And there are thousands, 7,000 each year in Ontario alone, but bystander assistance is abysmally low. Many people are afraid of hurting the person in need or fail to understand the consequences of not doing CPR.
We are each other's guardian angel in that if we're there to help someone and we send someone home to their families that would be going to the morgue otherwise, we're heroes. Ordinary people can save lives, and these aren't small numbers. When you have, 40,000 a year in Canada, that's a lot of folks, and when of the 85% outside of hospital, only around 5% are surviving. If you get those numbers up, you're saving a lot of people.
Organizers say calling 911 and starting CPR immediately can increase survival rates from 0% to 75% or better. Dennis Ward, TBT News.
Back to our last story, we now have the video item. Thunder Bay's city manager says the possible reassessment of the Resolute pulp and paper mill could have an impact on the 2014 budget. City Council met behind closed doors this past week to confirm its position at an upcoming hearing. Resolute Forest Products has applied for a 60% reduction in the assessed value of its Thunder Bay mill. The city has hired outside legal counsel to help defend the multi-million-dollar appeal. Resolute officials are hoping to see the assessed value of the mill drop from $74 million to roughly $34 million. Similar decisions by the Municipal Property Assessment Corporation have had huge consequences for places like Dryden and Espanola. A worst-case scenario could also see Thunder Bay paying millions of dollars back to Resolute for taxes paid in previous years.
The assessed value of the plant is going back really to 2008, but obviously that the decisions around those last 4 years will affect 2012 to 2016. Yeah, so yeah, definitely. It's a big decision, no question about it.
The city believes the current value of the plant should be maintained. The city, MPAC, and Resolute will meet at an assessment review board hearing in January. 4 different by-elections were held across the country this past week. The outcomes won't be enough to topple the balance of power in Ottawa, but there's still a good indication of support for the federal parties. Justin Trudeau's Liberals won 2 of the 4 seats up for grabs. So for our question of the day, we wanted to know if you thought he could win the next election.
I hope somebody beats Harper. I will say he's not his father, that's for sure. I honestly don't know. That election's going to be an interesting election.
Possibly, because I don't know, if the people like how the government's going, then yeah, why not?
I'd say it's definitely a possibility, for sure, depending on how everyone wants to vote and stuff like that.
His name alone, I think, gives him a good repertoire already with people, especially with students. So yeah, I think he could.
I think he could win the next election just because he's probably well known, I feel like, and he already has support from the community from previous years.
Are looking for change right now. However, given the economy, some of them are very cautious about the types of change. So I think he has some challenges ahead of him.
I hope so. Yes, I think there's a possibility. Hopefully voter turnout will be higher. It has been at record lows the past few years, so hopefully that more people will get out and vote and it'll be in his favor.
Well, there are some real heavyweights on display this afternoon, as well as some renowned local athletes lifting them. Organizers of the Northwestern Ontario's first bench, deadlift, and squat championships say the local power lifting scene is growing. Today they gathered to set regional records and show off their talents. Thunder Bay has some big names setting provincial, national, and world records. Caitlin Pavlik holds 2 world records that she was hoping to crush today.
For the population that we have in Thunder Bay, there's actually quite a large amount of people who are interested and who do compete. So to get things like this going on, it really starts to bring even more people into it. And then maybe we can eventually get something that's sanctioned down from either the CPF or the IPF lifting communities, so that it can be a little bit more recognized that we do have some really awesome lifters from Thunder Bay and people who do have records and
who are serious about this. We just held Ontario's Strongest Man here last June. We're going to be holding it again in 2014. And we just hope to make Thunder Bay the hub for strength sports.
Those involved say their goal is to have bigger sanctioned events in Thunder Bay.